45 degrees right now. Now, this is a public service. You're going to hear something here. I want to hear from you. Don't be shy. If you have questions, if this affects you or somebody you care about or a neighbor or something, you want to find out more, you need to give us a call. 757-627-7979. Email tony@wnis.com. Now, for years, you've heard, I've known this guy a million years, Michael Mason. You've heard him on WNIS. Great guy, did a great service for us for so many years. Will be on tonight. He'll be on tonight at 6, right? All right, he's going to be on tonight at 6. We're going to be talking to his son real soon, Michael Mason, Mason & Associates, LLC, 2 Bayport Way, Suite 110, Newport News. Number to call, 757-223-9898. M. Mason at masonllc.net. So we get this information from one of our salespeople, Ewing, and Mike's been with us a long time. And it's about this military survivor benefit plan open season. I'm thinking, how many people in the WNIS listening audience are going to be affected by that? With that in mind, we have a great guest who knows all about it. And Mr. Mason's handsome young son, John. John, how the heck are you?
Hey, good morning, Tony. Thanks for having us.
Well, it's my pleasure. And remember, I want you to call in and ask the questions. Does this affect you? All right. What is this all about? Take all the time you need.
Sure. Well, Tony, one big shout out to not only Sinclair, your news show this morning. WAVY TV 10 did a spot on this as well on 10 on Your Side. And we have that posted on our website, like a little video. But this military survivor benefit open season is really unique. And not only is it applicable to military, it kind of dovetails into why survivor benefits on any pension is important. Well, we've found over the years that a lot of retired military personnel, whether it's reserve or a traditional retirement, maybe 50% decline survivor benefits at retirement. And they do that for a variety of reasons. They think it costs too much. They don't know the rules. Maybe they received some like out processing training and somebody said, I heard you could do better with life insurance. And let's face it, a lot of these folks are retiring in their early 40s. While they're young, they're bulletproof, they've never had a health scare, they haven't been diagnosed with diabetes yet, or what have you. So they decline survivor benefits. And traditionally, that's an irrevocable decision. Well, President Biden and the U.S. implemented an open season this year. So for 365 days, basically, our retired military personnel, the people who serve this country, have an opportunity to reverse that decision that they made a year ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and the last one was 2005. So these don't come around very often.
Right, so the last open season was 2005. Now, you've heard the premise. You heard what John is telling us. You have questions. How much does it cost? You have a lot of questions. How does it affect you personally? What is your personal situation? Email tony@wnis.com. You can phone in 757-627-7979. Remember, these folks are going to be on again tonight right here on WNIS at 6. So if you can't get an email in now for whatever reason, you can't phone in a question right now, you can listen again tonight and you can call in tonight. But I'd love to hear from you right now. I know you have questions. How does this affect you? 757-627-7979. So this is, well, what's the impetus of this change all of a sudden? What was the impetus for this? Well, who was behind this? How did this happen?
So typically the government's only, Tony, going to give you an open season if they change the rules. So one of our big issues with open seasons is that every year there's an open enrollment for benefits, right? So you probably have that at Sinclair where every year you can like change your health insurance or you can change your disability.
Exactly.
And we call that open season.
Okay.
Well, this military survivor benefit open season should really be titled Once in a Lifetime Opportunity, never to be seen again. But it kind of just gets lost in the shuffle when you hear open season. It's like, well, I'll do it next year. Right. So we just really want to get the word out that you may never see this again. So the impetus for the change was that it used to be that if you had a VA disability or you had a military survivor benefit and your spouse qualified for benefits under both, they'd get the higher of the two. Mm-hmm. Well, the rules changed that now the surviving spouse could potentially have a military survivor benefit and a VA disability survivor benefit. So that rule changed last year or a couple years ago. So with that change came this open season that said basically, which is probably not the case, people did not decline survivor benefits because of this rule. Mm-hmm. But because the rule changed, that's now your opportunity to get back in.
All right, we got a bunch of calls coming in. We're going to get to all of you, but I have to, I wouldn't have known about this, but then again, I was in the military, but I wasn't career military. But how did they get the word out? I mean, outside of Mason, Michael Mason and Mason and Associates, how does anybody get the word out? How are you going to know about this? Or WAVY?
It was buried into legislation. I mean, it's just buried into hundreds and thousands of pages, and it's mind-boggling. I don't think they're doing a very good job getting the word out, so that's why we're so happy you're doing that today.
Well, Mason and Associates are doing a good job getting the word out. You're going to hear them this morning. You're going to hear them again tonight at 6, and we're looking forward to hearing from Sandy. Sandy, I'm so glad you called. Go ahead and talk to John, Sandy.
Hi, I'm calling from Virginia. I have a question. How would this affect widowers if their husband did this and the military husband is now passed away? Would they be able to do that?
So is the question, Sandy, that I'm hearing, the military retired person has already passed away?
Right.
I don't think
widower,
this... Yeah, I don't think this survivor benefit open season is going to be able to do anything in that situation, unfortunately.
Okay, so they have to be living. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Now, remember, I'm going to leave you on. I'm not going to hang up on you right after you answer your question. So you'll have time for a follow-up if you need to hear more after John speaks to you, okay? Now, remember, you're going to hear him again tonight. If you want a private consultation, how will that happen?
Sure. Yeah, masonllc.net. Right on our homepage, you have the ability to schedule an introductory phone call, which is pretty cool. Or if you prefer like a more traditional 757-223-9898. We actually have live people answering the phones. You don't have to go through a phone prompt. We're probably in at like 8:30, so we're not there yet. Don't call us right this second, but I'm good on my word. Just please call it like 8:30.
What an optimistic man. Here he is in Norfolk, thinking he's going to leave at 8 and be in Newport News by 8:30. What an optimistic young man he is. Let's take another call. Hey, James in Chesapeake. We're glad to hear from you, James. Go ahead and talk to us.
Hey, good morning, Tony.
Hey,
good
buddy.
morning, John. I got a question for you. If I'm already enrolled, okay, and I have to pay, 360 payments, or by 70 years old be paid up, if older folks are now enrolling, won't I be paying twice as much than those that would, say, be 60 or 65 and start paying over?
So, James, thank you for the question, and I want to answer this a couple different ways. So,
I'm going to leave James on just in case you need more clarification, James, so hang in there. Go ahead.
Yeah, so one point of clarification here during this open season, and this is for all of our listeners, is that you have the ability to enroll in survivor benefits. You also have the ability to disenroll or unenroll in survivor benefits. So we're not typically recommending that you take the option to opt out at this time. Now, the opt-in rules, they're a little goofy. So what the opt-in rules say, James, is that if you already have any version of SBP, so if you have child only, or you're only protecting 10% of your retirement pension rather than the full 55, if you're enrolled in anything, you can't change it. The only ability to change it is if you have no coverage at all. So let me give you an example. When you retired from the military, you took child only, and your child aged out in 2021. Well, in 2022, you didn't have any SBP. You could actually opt back in. But if you had child only as of December 22nd last year, well, you already had survivor benefits. You can't make a change. So hopefully that answers one of your questions. And then I think the second question was the cost. The cost is 6.5% pre-tax of your retirement pay. So, for example, we'll just use $100,000. I know it's a big number, but $100,000, 6.5% is $6,500 pre-tax, right? So that's the cost. If it's $55,000 or $50,000 pension, your cost for SBP would be half of that. So that's the cost. If you enroll in SBP today and you've been retired for 10 years, you're going to have to go back in time 10 years and make up for those premium payments that you missed. So at 50, 51, 52, you'd have to make up those 10 years of payments plus interest, plus, according to the DFAS website, there's going to be some sort of like actuarial correction number. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be missed premiums plus interest plus some actuarial bogey. And the reason for that third piece is to try and keep the system whole and not bankrupt it.
What do you think, James?
Okay, very helpful.
Yeah, well, we're good to hear from you, James, and thank you very much for the call, sir. Let's take another call right now, and this time around, we're going to go to Charlie. Charlie's in Chesapeake. Charlie, you're on WNIS. Welcome, go ahead.
Hey, thank you very much. Good morning. I think my question was answered, but just for clarification, I took the spousal partial survivor benefit. I think it's 35% instead of 55%. So what I heard is I'm stuck at that. I have no option at all unless I cancel, which is not the right thing to do. Is that correct?
Charlie, that's our understanding of the rules, is that because you already have something, you're going to be locked in at that amount. And the only change, as you mentioned, would be the opt-out. And we would tend to agree with you unless it's an extremely unique situation that opting out probably doesn't make sense for you and your family.
Okay, very good. Hey, thank you, gentlemen. Good.
Thank you, Charlie, and thank you very much for the call. Now, if you're just tuning in, I want to take one more phone call right now before the break. But if you're just tuning in, we're talking to Mason and Associates. We're talking to John about the Military Survivor Benefit Plan open season. That is right. If you are a military retiree who initially declined survivor benefits, you now have the option to change that decision. There's all kinds of caveats. There's all kinds of instructions that we're learning a lot from John here. This is likely a once in a lifetime opportunity. Give us a call, 757-627-7979. Y'all remember Mason and Associates? They've been with us for many years here on WNIS. Our good friend Mike Mason, this is his son. And what we're going to do is have them on again tonight at 6. You'll have the opportunity to get your phone calls in. So if you're driving around right now or you want to formulate the question in your head, they're back again tonight at 6 right here on AM 790 WNIS. If you want to call them personally, you just want to get in charge, he's not going to be back to the office. He's leaving Norfolk at 8 o'clock, so he should be back in Newport News by about 7 o'clock tonight. So give him a call at 757-223-9898. That number again, repeating for all those needing, 757-223-9898. I got to say right now, your dad must be very proud of you. You're good at this, young man.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, we've had a lot of progress both with you and Sinclair, and then doing our podcast. So it's fun.
I don't think your ability to answer all these questions has anything to do with me or Sinclair. I think you know what you're talking about, young fella. Let's go to Dave in Newport News. Dave, we're glad to hear from you, sir. Go ahead.
Hey, good morning, Tony. Hey, John. You kind of answered my question a little earlier. I retired in August of 2009, and at the time weren't in the financial situation we are now. So that $150 a month or whatever we needed, so I turned it down. But that buy-in premium, I'd have to go back to August 2009 and make that up. Is there a calculator out anywhere that you know of to figure out how much that's going to cost me, and if it would even be worth it to do that?
I think one way you could initially calculate it, there's not a calculator available now, but do you do a good job, Dave, keeping tax records by chance?
Yes.
So maybe what you could do is you could go back to all of those 1099-Rs that you received from the Defense Finance Accounting Service, DFAS, and you could look at your military pension that you've received since 2009, add up all of those premium, or add up that total pay, right? So 2009 through 22, total pay, times 6.5%. That's going to give you your missed premiums. If you wanted to estimate on the high side, do last year's pay times the years you've been retired, times 6.5%.
Sure.
But the more accurate would be maybe like getting that source data. If you don't have that, you could probably request IRS transcripts going back to 2009 and maybe get those pension calculations from back then. Interest, there's a table, and you gave me a good idea. We'll post the interest table because we have it in a spreadsheet back at the office. We'll post it on our blog, but there's a government interest table that goes back over time. And that's for like military, if you wanted to purchase your years of service or if you're rebuying federal service, there's stated interest rates. So we'll post those on our blog for you to see it. And you could use those 1099-R earnings history plus the interest rates that we'll post for you. What we don't know right now is that actuarial factor. Now, that being said, I just gave you a really long answer. Would you like the easy answer, Dave?
Sure.
Okay, so the easy answer is to opt into survivor benefits. If you go to the DFAS special enrollment page, there's actually a form, and it's called the Open Season Letter of Intent.
Mm-hmm. Right. I'm there. I've been reading it. Yep.
If you submit that form, they're going to give you the calculation.
Yep, got you, John.
So our default recommendation for you and everybody like you would be, let's go ahead and submit that letter of intent. Let's see what it costs. Then we can make a really informed, educated decision.
Wow. Great.
Yep. Very good. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Dave. Good to hear from you. AM 790 WNIS. We're back with more phone calls. Now, we're down to the last 12 minutes. Get them in. 757-627-7979. Hemp Haven. Dr. Denise Foster have helped people all over Hampton Roads reduce or eliminate prescription drugs, alcohol, and tobacco use. Hemp Haven offers education and wellness through use of high-quality, safe, effective products. Dr. Denise Foster studies these issues. She knows all about it. She's got all the degrees. Give her a call. Any questions you have, she'd love to talk to you. 757-609-3767. She's helped people ranging in ages from 3 to 103, and I'm one of her customers. Yes, I am. HempHavenWellness.com. HempHavenWellness.com. Thompson Creek Window Company designs, builds, and installs replacement windows that are built specifically for Hampton Roads, for our climate here in Hampton Roads. And for anybody who's lived anyplace else, you know, the humidity, all that kind of stuff, without the dreaded middleman markup. You get high-quality windows and at a full price direct from their factory. Call now. It's Thompson Creek's biggest sale of the year. 25% off all windows and doors. No interest until October 2024. ThompsonCreek.com has more details. The number to call, 855-57-CREEK. 855-57-CREEK. You want Thompson Creek.
Over 100 stores all under one roof at the Hampton Roads Convention Center this Saturday and Sunday, April 1st through the 2nd at the Hampton Gun Show. The Hampton Gun Show offers a huge selection of firearms, knives, ammo, tactical gear, and more. You never know what you may find at the Hampton Gun Show. Tickets are available online at sgkshows.com or at the door. Background checks performed at the show. All federal, state, and local laws apply. No loaded firearms allowed. That's the Hampton Gun Show this weekend at the Hampton Roads Convention Center.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? At Hampton Roads Weight Loss, we know the secret. Our unique doctor-supervised weight loss program makes it easy to lose weight, get healthy, and get your energy back naturally, safely, and effectively. If you'd love to lose unhealthy fat without counting points or calories, no exercising, no prepackaged meals, no HCG, no drugs, no hypnosis or surgery, call Hampton Roads Weight Loss today at 757-608-2900.
I used to think there wasn't, but it turns out there is a weight loss plan that would work for me. That's because Hampton Roads Weight Loss by Design works for anyone. I'm Lee Foster. I've lost over 50 thanks to them, and I'm going for 60. They will help you lose weight, feel better, have more energy, and change your life.
Most patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month. That's a half a pound to a pound per day. For your free private weight loss consultation, call 757-608-2900. That's 757-608-2900. Or online at HamptonRoadsWeightLoss.com.
And Foster will tell you more about that later on in the broadcast today. We're talking to Mason and Associates about a rare opportunity for military retirements. I don't want to spend any more time than that going on and on because I know I got a bunch of people calling in and I do want to get to them and I don't want to keep this young lady waiting. We're going to go to Kay in Virginia Beach. Kay, welcome and talk to John. Kay, go ahead. Hi, Kay. Are you there, Kay?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead and ask John a question, Kay. Welcome and go ahead.
Good morning. Yes, I am divorced, and as part of my divorce decree, I was getting SBP. But because I was remarried before age 55, there's a rule that you no longer are eligible, and I was wondering if that has changed with these new rules.
Not that I'm aware of, Kay. That's a wonderful question, but not that we're aware of.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Kay. Good to hear from you right here in AM 790 WNIS. Next time around, we're going to welcome Newport News. It's our friend Doug. Doug, talk to John. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, good morning, Tony. Good morning, John. Hey. I got a question, please. I retired in 2010. I was legally separated before retirement. Of course, and I opted out for the survivor benefits at that time. But in 2012, I remarried. Can I put my new spouse for the survivor benefits?
So, Doug, if I'm hearing the question correctly, in 2010, when you retired, you were married, but you weren't divorced yet. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And at that time, you declined survivor benefits, and your soon-to-be ex-spouse signed that waiver that said she agreed with the decision. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So it sounds like you fit into this open season where you could enroll. You could go back in time and enroll, and I assume you would go back to 2010 for those missed premiums. So you're correct.
Okay, Doug?
Oh, okay. All right, great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Doug. Good to hear from you, Doug, in Newport News. We got this from our friend Dennis And Dennis writes, John, I chose to have the minimum survivor benefit. I am a 100% disabled vet. I do not know what benefits my spouse would have under the VA, but I do know the retired benefit is ridiculously low. Do I have to pay the deltas for the 23 years?
So good question, Dennis, and we appreciate that. So one, it sounds like you already have the minimum survivor benefit, so you are not able to change that during this open season unless you were to opt out completely to zero. So this is not an opportunity for you to increase. Remember, you can only, during this open season, opt in or opt out. It's not an opt to increase. So what I would recommend, Dennis, that you do, and I've had a couple clients recently who have really benefited from this, call the VA, have them pull up your record. I'm 100% VA disabled. If I died yesterday, how much would my spouse would receive going forward? And the VA has been answering this question for our clients almost immediately. So I don't know if the software is really good or it's just very clear on their screen, but they're able to answer that question. So I would call the VA and I would ask, what's a way, and Dennis, we appreciate your question. I'm going to expand on this a bit for those who maybe have opted into a minimum SBP, maybe they're 60 years old or so. One of the ways that we overcome, and this is for Dennis, for our listeners, for you, Tony, overcome a decision of like declining SBP is by maybe delaying one of your Social Securities until age 70. Oh, okay. So a lot of times folks like to turn Social Security on at 62. I'll use an example, $1,500 a month. Well, if we delay Social Security until age 70, it could be like $3,000 or $3,500 a month. It's well over double. Now, how does Social Security work? At the first person's death, the survivor keeps the higher of the two. So if we delay one of your Social Securities until 70, I'm not saying we can just completely overcome that SBP decision, but we can kind of help through other survivor benefit planning tools like delaying Social Security.
I got 2 minutes. I know you got a question. Don't be shy. There's no benefit to being shy. 757-627-7979. Tell me more about Mason & Associates.
So we're a financial planning firm in Newport News. We specialize with federal employees and military. Financial planning, that term is so boring, but that is what we are. What we like to say is we empower our clients to live their best life. We want to educate, we want to inform, we want to empower, and we want to motivate. And that's through financial planning, tax planning, and giving folks tangible action items. When we meet with our clients, the internal joke is we want to create more work for us and more work for you as the client. It's not a compliance meeting. It's a work meeting. It's a homework meeting. It's figuring out how can we improve your financial plan, your tax plan, not only this year, but for decades.
Now, we only have 1 minute. Tell the listeners what we were talking about today and what benefits are available to them. Who are we talking to and what are we talking about?
Number one, thank you, Tony and Sinclair, for having me. Military Survivor Benefit Open Season. Basically 365 days to potentially reverse a decision that was a bad one. You retired from the military, you retired from the reserves, you declined survivor benefits, you have no coverage. If you died yesterday, your military pension goes from $50,000 to zero for your surviving spouse. This is an opportunity to enroll. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Yes, you have to pay back premiums, but don't freak out yet. Let's fill out the letter of intent. Let's figure out how much it costs. Most importantly, somebody that's listening or one of your friends is terminally ill. Somebody's dying right now, and that's morbid, but they are. And they have the ability to reverse that decision, Tony, right now to protect that spouse and have a decision that reverberates not only for that person's lifetime, but for generations. Changing a survivor benefit decision affects your spouse, your kids, your grandkids, because that's income to your surviving spouse for decades.
Mason & Associates. Now, remember, they'll be on WNIS again this evening at 6 o'clock. So if you didn't get in, like a couple of people are calling in right now, Keith, another gentleman is calling in, please call back tonight. Please call back tonight. You can call John. You can call Mike. They're going to be at the office in a little while. He's heading over. He's in Norfolk, and he's heading over to the peninsula. 757-223-9898. John, outstanding job, young fella.
Tony, thank you. This was fun. And thank you to all the listeners and the callers. That was rapid fire. Hopefully we did a good job.
You did. Mason & Associates.
Hi, this is Rob Short with Stokely Services.